Then we move to the next checkpoint under self-centered and explosive nature of behavior, which is a kind of problematic behavior. And now we are checking the child is rigid to have his or her own way. Many children, they behave in such a way that they want a particular thing to be done in a particular way. So when that kind of behavior is displayed by a child, then if it is not managed, then that becomes quite rigid going further. Therefore, being little bit of flexible in a particular understanding, or when some kind of activities is done or some kind of other things are happening, if the child is sticking to a particular way of or particular manner, this particular thing has to be done, then the child's behavior becomes rigid, and that is not a very good social skill to have in the child. So we have to manage those situation and manage that particular skill in the school if we understand and if we observe this child is having such kind of problematic behavior. Then there are various techniques, and one very important and effective technique is a game called How Can We Do. So under this we have to check and correct if such behavior is present in the child. Number one is if the child is sticking to a particular way of doing things. For example, lot of activities are generally done in a school, and the teachers can observe if a child is just sticking to a particular way of behavior, that I need in this way, I don't want to go somewhere else. If the teacher is asking that please stand in a particular way, but there will be some problematic children will be saying that no, I don't want to stand here, I'll be standing somewhere else. If such kind of behavior is happening, that means the child is very much rigid in the own thinking. So if that is happening, the teacher has to change that. Similarly, if they do not listen to others' ideas, they only talk about their own ideas and not listening to others, then that is also a kind of indication child is sticking to his or her own way, and do not allow others to put their point forward. So that is also problematic behavior under this particular problems that we are discussing now. And sometimes these children, they behave completely opposite to what the teachers and others they say. So if such kind of thing happens, we can initiate this game called How Can We Do It. So if such kind of thing happens, then the teachers can define a particular way to do it, completely different the way the child is behaving. Then teacher has to persuade and work with the child to follow the instructions or processes that is defined by the teacher. If that is done at the early stage, then it becomes very, very possible to modify this kind of behavior in the child. But if that is not done, if that is not observed, if that is not managed, then definitely this will lead to a very, very problematic situation in future. And as we know, the child may not be accepted as a good social skill while dealing with complex problems or complex social issues. And this is the same evaluation pattern we have to follow. If child is not displaying this particular problem behavior, then we have to give a score of 0. And if the child is very often showing this kind of behavior, we have to give a score of 3. And if the score of 3 is coming again and again during various evaluation cycles in the school, then we have to be very, very careful, work with all the stakeholders, including parents, so that we can modify this skill, this particular pattern of behavior in the beginning itself.